welcome to Scrappin with Sheri. I'm going to take just a minute today to show you an unconventional use for a product that we've had around for a while. We have die cut paper packs. We've had them with various collections, and this one came out in March of this year, in March of 2024, with the Welcome Baby collection. And I think most of us, we think, oh, I don't have a baby, I don't need that. But I wanted to look at it in a different way today. This is a pretty laser pack. It's got 2 sheets with it. They've got pretty borders around the outside edges and beautiful decorations inside. And these are just pre-done. They're ready to go. All you've got to do is stick your pictures in. Now, of course, this one was made to do babies, so it's actually months, if that's a word. It has all the different months listed, so you can use it that way and just put your baby's pictures in there each month. But if you flip these over, look how pretty these are on the back. Just a really generic look. It's got the browns. It does still have places that you could do journaling if you wanted to. But I wanted to show you how to use these, at least one of these, on a sketch that Creative Memories came out with lately. Now, for the summer of 2024, Creative Memories has been doing these sizzling summer sketches. And this was the last sketch, sketch number 9. And it shows a pretty bordered outside edge with 4 pictures in the center. It is a double spread, and they used 4 pictures on each side. But, you know, the sketches are to get us started. They're not set in stone, so we can adapt those however we want to. And my first thought was, hey, what a great place to use this die-cut laser paper to see if we could make something look kind of like the sketch. Now, I will tell you, this is a little bit bigger than the design they have here, but we're going to be able to get 6 pictures in this instead of just the 4, so I do think that's a win. Now, I've pulled pictures from a hike that we took when we were in the UP in Michigan, and I feel like they're going to work pretty well in this. This one may be a little testy, but this was just some scenery pictures and us walking through the woods. And to do this, what I typically do is put my tape on the top and bottom of these openings. And then I start looking at, okay, how will this fit best in this opening to capture what I want? Now, I really want to see this tree on the side. I want to see the water flowing. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay that down right there. And you can see that I'm going over the outside edge here a little bit. So I'm just going to take my scissors behind the template and just chop that off. Now, is it going to look pretty on the back side? No, absolutely not. But that's not what's going to show anyway, so it's okay. Here, I really wanted to show the depth of the sand that goes down to the water. And this, again, was still on the same hike. So I'm just going to slide this here. And again, take my scissors and trim it out. Now, I've seen people do these where they spend a lot of time tracing their pictures and marking them off and cutting them exactly. And then they get them in there and they're not the exact right size. And you see white space around and things like that. To me, this is just the easiest way to do it. Now, we were walking up to this area where we saw that. It was funny. I don't think I took a picture of the sign, but there were all these signs saying, don't get too close to the edge, and warning you that if you did get too close to the edge and you went over the side of this, that it might take rescuers to come and get you back, and you might have to pay a fine. I mean, it was crazy, but we did get close enough just to take a picture, but boy, we were a little bit nervous about that the whole time. Let me see if this one with us is going to work at all. It's really not. So we're going to have to find another picture to go in there. But this one with my honey with these tall wagon wheels will work there. This was actually at a logging area. And so they had a few things to see along the way. This, again, just shows that big drop off. And you can see as I'm sliding these pictures in there, I'm just covering up where I taped on the back side. I'm not having to trim as much out here. And I need to find one more picture. Here's a good one. We saw some mushrooms along the trail. Just another good outdoorsy, woodsy picture. And it picks up my browns that I've got going here. So look, in just a couple of minutes, we've already got all 6 of those pictures ready to go. Now, one thing that might bother you, because it bothers me, is the fact that we've got all these little journaling spots here that I don't necessarily want to use. So I was looking at how to cover those up, and I found these borders. These were from Welcome Home, I believe. It's been a while since I've pulled that collection out, but I thought how pretty these would be just to throw in a little more woodsy look with this. It doesn't cover those white spots exactly, but it covers them well enough. So I'm going to pull out my silicone mat and my repositionable tape and just cover over. I'm going to put that on these borders. I am going to make both borders face off the page because this is going to end up being the right-hand side of my page, of my double spread. And then I'll do something on the left-hand side comparable to this, but not exactly. In the sketch, you see they did it very, very similarly on both sides. But my pictures are not going to lend themselves to 4x4s. I did want to do the sketch just because I've been trying to keep up with all these sketches this summer. So I had to find a way to make the sketch work for me. And I know you hear it from me all the time, but make the sketch work with the pictures you've got, with the supplies you've got. But, you know, again, in an effort to try more in 24, I'm giving this little die-cut paper thing a shot. And I could see myself using these more often because that's pretty good. That's a quick way to get 6 pictures on a page without having to do a lot of extra work. Now, to put this on my scrapbook page, I could put this directly on the page, but I use the Spargo pages, and I feel like that's going to just meld in too much. So I'm probably going to put this background behind it. Now, a lot of you will think, well, that's a waste of a whole background paper. It is, but this is not a paper that's one of my favorites. Again, it's from the Welcome Home collection. It's an older collection, but it ties in with the greens that I've got going on with my vine. Gives me a little green around the outside edges. And in a flash, this page is going to be done. So I'm adding my tape pretty liberally here just because I've got lots of little moving parts back here on this back side. But then all I've got to do is stick this on there. And this one side is ready to go. Now, I'm not going to take time on camera to show you the opposite side, but I will do that. You'll see the picture of it on the video. But there's Sizzlin Summer Sketch 9, done a totally different way. Now, that is what I'm considering my right-hand side of my pages, and I'll go back and do the left-hand side. So in playing around with this, I wanted to take a minute to show you where I ended up. I pulled this other piece of paper from the Welcome Home collection because I know that it coordinates well. And it has just a very muted pattern on the background, but I liked the green in here. And the color here reminds me a lot of this color. They may not be exactly the same. It's kind of a not quite white, not quite beige. It's just kind of there. But I feel like the colors coordinate well. And in looking at some matting, I ended up pulling Bronze Shimmer because I felt like it was the closest to the browns over there. And Bronze Shimmer, I think people automatically assume that it has to be used for formal occasions. Don't get that in your head because I don't feel like it does at all. It just seems to match sometimes better than the others. It's just a good brown for a match. Now, obviously, my pictures are not going to fit like the ones on the sketch did. But I did still manage to get 4 pictures on here. I cut this to a 4x4, which is what the sketch called for. It called for 4 4x4s. These I left as 4x6 and matted a little big, but these I matted according to the size with a 5x5 mat. Again, this one is a little bit longer than it called for, but I kind of like the look of it. Now, one thing I want to do is shift all of this a little bit this way, because in doing this, I also decided I wanted to add just a little bit of a border. I didn't have another one of these, but this one kind of picks up the same feel, and I wanted to add that down that side. So I'm going to stick these on real quickly. Add that last border, and you'll get to see these 2 pages completely done. kind of playing off the sketch, but then going our own direction because of the products we chose to use. And that's what this is all about. Taking it, making it look like you want it to do, using the products that you have on hand. Sometimes even finding a new way to use a product that you didn't know about, like these Welcome Baby mats. I think that page turned out really pretty and super quick, which is always a goal when I'm trying to finish up projects to get started on the next one. And what you're going to see in the next few days is my completed album of this Michigan trip, because I'm down to only 2 pages left in this to have it completely done. Now that's not going to work exactly. So I think what I'm going to do is take that up to there and even those two up. And then I'll find an embellishment to go here. But I did want this border down the side just to carry over some of that greenery. So let's go back to the silicone mat and our repo tape. And that's pretty on both sides, but I really wanted to pull in just a touch of blue with these flowers, just because we are always having some shade of blue on. I am anyway. And that pulls that viney look down through there. So my next step would be to add some type of embellishment here, and that would even make it more like the sketch. So let me look and see what I can find for an embellishment. In glancing through some old stickers, I came up on this one that says Simple Moments. Again, it's going to tie my browns in, and it is a sticker, so I'm going to use a couple of the bigger foam squares on this so it doesn't lay down too flat. But this kind of captures it all. Simple moments, just walking in the woods. I like the fact that it's circular. It kind of picks up the fact that these are circled. I could have rounded the corners on this to make it more like that. I didn't really think to do that. I typically am not a corner rounder. But look how perfect that size is for that. It just kind of covers the edge of all those corners, and it brings that color across. So now this 2-page is completely done. There won't be any journaling on this because there will be journaling on another page about this same trip. So there you go. This is the Sizzlin Summer Sketch number 9, adapted Sheri style. And until I see you next time, happy scrapping.